I'm Dave Forrest with my good friend
Harvey Lowe.
and in today's episode we're going to continue weathering the Tiger. So I made some good progress on the Tiger since we last met.
You did.
I don't think we showed. I can't remember
Not
if we showed.
the camo. Did we show the
I
camo?
didn't show the camel, but I don't know if we showed the underlying kit. I can't remember. But anyway,
No, we did not.
I think we just focused on the road wheels here.
Mm-hmm.
So today, and this is really more about weathering than anything else because there's other videos on the modulation and the camo. But today we're going to carry through. So the last episode we did the weathering on the wheels. Today we're going to carry through and do the weathering on the vehicle itself. I've kind of done one side. I've prepped the other side, and that's the side we're gonna focus on and do the front and back as well.
Well, perhaps because you didn't show the camo, correct? Maybe you can talk about how you applied it, air pressure, paints, and did the tight.
Sure. Yeah. So
verbally.
I use I love using the Gunzi modulation set for Dunkel Gelb. I think it's fantastic. I think it does. You get the four colors. You get a shade. You get a base color and two highlights. So that's kind of my go-to for.
Is that acrylic or lacquer?
That's lacquer.
That's lacquer. Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't modify the colors. You use them straight out.
I use straight out of the bottle. So very convenient. And then the green is a combination of the new Dark Green 2 from Tamiya.
Yeah.
And the AK line of paints, the little acrylic. Not the third gen, but the
And
the
are
jars.
you spraying? Because I've mentioned to you off camera that's a really nice application of camo with very little overspray. If it's hard to pick up on the camera, folks, but if you look at a pattern like this, it's almost easier to do a very tight pattern or a very broad pattern. But right in the middle of where you have that, you've managed to create a splotch camo with almost visibly no splatter. So what air pressure and paint mixture did you use?
So I thinned the paint down. So the paint is probably 60, at least 65, 70% thinner, 30% paint. And then I sprayed low pressure, like
Very
12 psi.
Okay. It's beautifully done.
And I use an HPB.
It's beautifully done. I think that's one of your best patterns. It looks so common, but if you look close, there's zero splatter, there's zero overspray. So quite well done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was fun. It's funny. It's when you're painting, like you're working off a side profile.
Yeah.
And you're using, and there's no top or other side or front back.
Right.
So you're kind of extrapolating that across the vehicle. So it's a bit, it's a bit interpretive, but.
But you've got the scale, because in real life they would have been using an airbrush, but 1-to-1, that can is not producing splatter. Do you know what I mean? Whereas here,
or it's harder to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like here, you're spraying 1/35th. The probability of getting splatter is higher.
Yeah. But then you have to put yourself in the shoes of, kind of what's happening in the moment when the crewmen are painting it. They don't care.
True.
Right?
True.
They're just trying to. It's a job. They got to get this paint on, and then there's probably overspray. There's probably on the vehicle, right? That you would see.
Yeah, but whether you'd see that in 35th. The other thing is if your crew is doing it, I've seen a lot of models where the pattern is almost so symmetrical. It's not correct, because you're in the field, you're not going to be, there's a splatter here and it's going to be exactly the same distance from the other. Generally
not.
There's a bit of.
I agree. Generally, yes.
We digress.
Yeah. So we'll get right into it. We're going to start. We'll go right through the process. We'll start putting this acrylic dark earth on. We'll take it back with a little bit of buff, and then we'll start doing some washes to create some depth.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we'll get into it. But first, I finished this side, and I've done the bottom.
Isn't that great? I was just looking at, because I haven't seen it, folks, till now. That really looks amazing.
So the other side of the tank just has the acrylic mud applied, and then the front and back have nothing. So we'll start with the acrylic mud in the front and back and kind of build that up. And I think I've talked about this before. I love doing the undersides because it's a good opportunity to practice.
Well, there's a lot of things happening here. The layering, the depth, it's really spectacular. And I think, I was just telling Dave, even off camera, that when we judge, and I'm generalizing because I've judged a lot of amps, There's a group of 4 guys. Rarely do they pick up a model and go look at the bottom, like in my opinion. And so if you've done such a nice job here, consider displaying the model at a show. Maybe how the cars guys do it. It's on an angle and there's a mirror there. Because that's you don't see the bottom. And I think you should show it.
Yeah, but it's good. I mean, it's good to practice. I know it's there. I always pay some attention to the bottom of the tank.
But you've got the splatter. You've got you got to talk about.
Yeah, we'll do all of that.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same techniques that were applied on the side. Mm-hmm. And really, you're just using 3 things. You're using this acrylic mud. You're using some buff to kind of knock it back a bit and give it a lighter color. And then you're using dark wash. That's all. That's it. And if you want to, if you wanted to get really fancy and put some oil stains, you could use like a gloss medium.
Yeah, because I know when I do mine, I use the traditional powders mixed with some of these, wash and some of the sometimes thicker plaster of Paris, and I work it that way. But you've got a nice subtle effect this way, right?
Yeah. So and I got to figure out how to bring it to the top, like to bring it to the horizontal.
Right.
So
without killing
it and without overdoing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've gotten away from pigments.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And maybe maybe we'll incorporate them when we start doing the upper
But then
part.
I've gotten away from acrylics into oils, so maybe I need to revisit.
It's convenient. Anyway, we'll get into it. So let's start. So we got some water here. I always have a little paper towel nearby. And then what I do. Actually, let's create some more space. We won't need that just yet. Take these off. And I should get my eyes here because I'll need that. So what we'll do is we'll start building. So this is really kind of the first layer, and what you do is you get an old shitty brush.
And again, let's go over this product again. It is, what do we got here? Dark Earth Acrylic Diorama Series AK8018.
Yeah, so and you can use, because you're applying paint. So the reason why I like this is because I love the color. I think it's a good base. It's a good dark color.
Yeah.
I was using this lighter one before. I don't, I've kind of stopped using that. And you just kind of pick up a bit with your brush. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to start doing the front. Mm-hmm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the corners and the lower part. And then leave this part here for, show the camo. And
I've noticed it's got a thick texture.
Yeah, but you can alter that with water.
Alter it with water, yeah.
And you can almost create.
I'm sure you could thicken it too with plaster of Paris if you want.
Yeah, you could.
But do you need to?
I don't know if you need to. I just kind of. What I'll do is I'll just stipple it on.
Yeah, I'm getting more into the bases and the groundwork.
Oh, that's something I gotta start.
I really want to get into that. I want to do some serious figure modeling too, because I haven't really done a lot of serious figures, and this stuff looks great for an upcoming project I'd like to do.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll just work this because you'd have, and again, you kind of think about where there would be a natural accumulation. And these guys right around. This was in the Battle of Kursk, or right around Kursk. It's fairly dry.
Yeah, I can tell the way you've done it. There's not a lot of gloss. It's nice and hey, it's a summer dark mud.
Yeah.
That's kind of dry because I think Kursk was, when was that? July.
July. Yeah.
So it would have been pretty hot, I presume.
Yeah, it was very hot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Gettysburg hot. I think it was hot.
Yeah.
Gettysburg was pretty hot.
Yeah, Gettysburg was hot.
And then what you can do is I can create a bit of a, if I want to do some blending with the water. Now the only problem with this acrylic stuff is you got to work a little bit quick because it is dry.
Oh.
You don't have the same, but you can see how you can get that nice gradual.
So you're blending it with water.
Yeah.
Now how are you blending? Are you blending the what do you call it? The demarcation between the material and the other model? Is that?
Yeah, just kind of just getting rid of the hard edges.
That's what. That's what.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what.
Exactly.
Getting rid of the hard edges, and I'm using demarcation.
Yeah, but you're
Because
spot
you know
on.
why I was watching Cross of Iron.
Oh.
Demarcation. Remember? That was
That's a great
that
movie.
was the password. Demarcation. Never mind.
That was a great movie. That was a Peckinpah movie, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Sam Peckinpah. Sam Peckinpah. So I'm just kind of creating.
I presume when you put the water there, it lightens to a lighter tone, or does it stay that color wet? Like, do you know what I mean?
No, I don't know if it changes the color. It just blends it. So it just kind of, you see here, like it just kind of.
But you're still leaving the predominant acrylic mud in the recess, correct? You're
Yes.
not blending that.
No, because you want that build up in there. Right?
That's correct.
And I kind of like, I think a good rule of thumb is that each layer should kind of stand on its own merits. Like each layer should look good, and not not have something that you're not happy with. I don't know if I'm making myself
Yeah,
clear.
yeah, you are. You want to let that completely dry, is what you're saying, before you do another layer, which would be a layer on its own from the finishing or weathering perspective.
Well, a little bit more than that. I think it's almost that, hey, if I did nothing else, if I didn't put any of the subsequent stuff on, this would look okay
I
as
see.
is.
I see.
You know what I mean? So, and by that I mean, get rid of the hard edges. Because you could make a case, well, I'm going to blend it anyways with the buff that I spray over.
Yeah.
But you
I see
just kind of run the risk of.
So in other words, take your time on each,
Yeah.
and pay attention to each layer of weathering.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
just let's just throw some mud on there. Oh, let's throw some.
And then hey, if I'm not happy with it, I can fix it later. Fix it in that layer.
Because this stuff is unforgiving. Once it's on, unlike oils, you can't remove it, right?
No, unless you like sand it off or something.
Oh, gee, okay.
But that's a little aggressive, a little extreme. So you can see I'm just kind of just working in the corners and just kind of creating that. And then you can always, I mean, with this stuff, you can't take away, but you can add.
Right.
Right, so you can always err. Like it's always best to err on the side of, not doing enough than doing too much. Because once you do too much, and it sets, you're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. See, you blending it. It's nice.
Yeah, so you just kind of work it in so that.
And you're using more water the further out you go.
Yeah, because you want that,
Yeah, I see it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of.
Mm-hmm.
So, and especially for me, the front of the vehicle.
Yes,
is
it would.
key.
It would. And the splatter from the rear.
You're not going to get. It's not as forgiving.
Now, did you say this stuff tries to with little glittery specks, or is that
Yeah, it
something?
does. No, this is this stuff. So that's why you need. So the subsequent buff helps tone or get rid of that effect.
And that's a dusting airbrush layer.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's like thin.
Yeah, because you don't want to cover it.
Yeah, that's very thin. You're just kind of building it up gradually. That's like 80% thinner.
By the way, if you ever notice, maybe you don't know, viewers, but we do these very early Sunday morning, so we're all kind of like, yawning and coffee.
That's why we need the coffee.
Yeah, we do it pretty early on a Sunday morning because we don't do this as a business and regularly, so.
Coffee and tarts.
Yeah, really early.
Those tarts were delicious. But
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's coming.
Yeah, so I think I'll just kind of maybe just work this bottom,
That's great.
right? Just
And
kinda-
I can see when you add the water, it's giving this, it's changing the color of the base color to almost like a diluted
yeah,
muddy effect. That's
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
And you kind of, you can use it like you're building up some
Yeah.
accumulation.
I presume that you could go back and add a bit more of this to the crevices too, or did you bother? Like in other words, this you redo the corners after you've done this, or do you?
You could.
Right.
I don't. I usually, unless I'm not happy with something.
Right. Oh, I see. You're
know what I mean?
saying that you get it perfect every time, is what I see.
Well, you worked it too.
You
can't-
make no mistakes.
Well, I make mistakes. Believe me, I'm not planning. But let's do the back of the vehicle. Yeah, but you just. Yeah, you try and you can always go back and fix things up, which I've done, and I will
Yeah.
do. Like there, you
Yeah.
see,
Well-
even here, I see I've missed some spots.
We've talked about weathering as a layering process, right? It's not a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 3.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It is for me, anyways.
Yeah, it is for me too.
Like I don't know if.
By the way, while you're doing that, my thanks to the organizers of IPMS Region 4 in Kentucky. Had a great time.
Oh yeah, that looked like a great show.
Yeah,
The pictures.
Yeah, it was great. A great time. Drove 14 hours to get there.
It's a long way for a
But,
show,
you know, they were very, very welcoming.
but it looked good. I mean, it looks like I'd love to try and see if I can go next year.
Yeah.
They do it every
would.
year. Yeah.
I don't know if they do the regional in the same city. I think Dayton does. You guys can send comments and correct. But I believe this is the first year that Louisville, by the way, they know that I'm not from Louisville because I call it Louisville. They do it there, and I think they rotate. So I don't know where it's going to be as a regional next year.
Oh, I see. But
but
this one was a good show.
Oh yeah, I had, and it's not because of how well or didn't I did or didn't do. It's just meeting like new people. I met a lot of guys that I know from Michigan and others from Ohio. But it's also the fact that it's a whole, for me anyways, it's a whole new group of people and models that I seldom see
Yeah.
driving 14 hours.
Yeah.
Because I have been to shows from Toronto further. I've been to Atlanta. I've been to Southern California. But first time to Louisville. So it was a really nice show.
Nice.
Great work. Really,
Yeah.
really
Yeah, it looked
stunning
good.
work. Yeah. Great vendors
Yeah,
too.
looked good. Yeah, we had. So while you were in Louisville, most of us were local here. We went to the London show.
Yes.
Which was fun. It's a good little show.
Yeah, London does it every year. Oh no, every
second year.
Second
I
year.
guess with things coming back from the pandemic.
Yes, and-
we're blessed that we have London and Ottawa this
Yeah,
year.
Ottawa, through Glenn Colley's group. We're going there in 2 weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun. So same type of. So sorry, just get back to this. So same type of thing, just working it up into the corners. Because this would be, this would be the muddiest part of it. Cause
Yeah, right.
where the way that when you're rolling forward, all the mud and stuff kicks
Yeah,
up here.
Yeah.
So we'll hit a lot of that with the splattering.
Yeah, I love splatters. I always had splatter effects.
And then like, I didn't do the mud flaps on the front, but I'll do a little bit here on the back. And the same type of thing, you're just kind of working. You can work in, and actually, the nice thing about this is you can actually work in a little bit of streaks.
Right.
A bit of a streaking effect.
We said this before, but your eye is telling you what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I think that's a skill that you're developing. It's not the skill of using the paintbrush and
No.
putting it on.
No, because when it comes to like actual like dexterity of the paintbrush, I suck.
All right.
I suck.
Yeah, well,
Like terrible.
Well, I can tell.
No, seriously, like I can't paint. You know, like when you're painting straps and
Yeah.
like figures and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have it. So a lot of it's technique and experience, and
That's
I
true.
think like people, you often hear, people, oh, I'm intimidated through the weathering, or I don't know how far to go. Like you just got to start. You just do it,
you have to do it,
and then just get experience.
Yep.
You fail, you fall down a bunch of times.
Yep.
And then you figure out what looks good, what's right.
That's,
Your eye develops.
That's
it comes back to that.
It does.
100 hours
It
to
does.
get good at something,
It
and then
does.
2,000 hours to become a master.
Yes, I think you're right. I think the development of your eye is really what your skill is. It's less about the technical pick up the brush
Yeah,
and do
because
it this way.
because I'm not gifted with a paintbrush. I can't. My handwriting is terrible. So my manual dexterity. So it's all technique, and it's all knowing what looks right.
It's true. Just a side note, while you do it, right now I'm painting my house, like the inside. And my wife is always, how do you get the paint on without any brush strokes? And it's just my eye. Like I'm just going, and I just do it naturally. And so you're right.
Do you add Mr. Surfacer Leveling?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's what you do.
And then the camouflage, the Dunkel Gelb.
Nice.
Every room in my house is Dunkel Gelb.
Nice.
Different camouflage
What's
pattern.
wrong with that color?
But yeah, it's your eye. It's your eye is what developing it, right?
So
Look at that.
I mean, so just a little bit, and then you can add to it, and then I can always go back and add if it's not like again. You'd rather have not enough than too much at this point.
Yeah, can Robert? Can you see it?
Yes.
Point it towards the camera there.
Yeah.
You can see the depth.
There's a cloud that's come over the workbench.
Cloud.
Robert's making some field adjustments.
And less is best.
Yeah. Like this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
an example of
Yeah.
be happy with if I did nothing else, I'd be happy with that.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, I wouldn't. I think you need to do more.
Well, that's all individuals.
What do I know? You know.
All individuals.
So next year we've got the U.S. Nationals is coming up, Madison, Wisconsin,
Yes.
and then the following year I think it's in Hampton Roads, but
After this in Virginia?
I believe it's Canadian versions of American Geography. But yeah, that'd be good to go, and I've got invitations to go down to some shows in North Carolina, South Carolina.
Nice.
So doing a little bit more traveling.
Taking advantage of the retirement.
Yes,
I see.
and perhaps definitely going back to Japan in 2025 for some shows. So stay tuned.
So I think that's it for the.
So if you were to sit here and do this seriously for not in front of the camera, would you spend about the same amount of time?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is the pace I work.
That's good. Hey.
Now I have to decide what I'm going to do on the flaps here,
Yeah.
but I don't think they got that muddy.
No, but I would think that there should be some color continuity flow over.
Yeah, and then maybe I need to do something on the front here
Yeah,
too.
yeah, just a bit.
But I might think about that. So I know I did on the rear flaps. Maybe I do something.
Just a bit.
Yeah, let's see.
Because
We can always pull it off.
yeah, because folks, when we're judging armor, I know at amps, what I look for is also logic and consistency in weathering.
Yeah.
Right? So if you've got it on the bottom, you got to have some where the guys track that bottom mud and dirt onto the upper surfaces of the vehicle. Yeah, I mean, that's all I think you need.
Yeah, just a little bit. And you're just gonna.
Work it in. I suppose you're right. If you were to do these with oils, like I have seen that you've got dark earth oil paints.
Yeah.
But the oil paint is the same consistency throughout all oil paints. Whereas this one's got this thicker consistency,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So-
You're building up some good texture.
Yeah. So that's the only advantage of acrylic, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
There's more. Yeah.
There's more guck.
Yeah, there's more guck.
Yeah. Now, who's to say that you can't accentuate this with oils? But then again, be very careful by overdoing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to,
Yeah.
if you want to, kind of. I mean, maybe actually I'll put some because of this. I'll put some here because
Yep.
of the fender being
Yep.
knocked back.
Yep. Would you put some of this on the lower levels of the side fender, perhaps?
Yeah,
Just a
maybe
bit?
just a bit.
Just a bit.
Like just.
Not consistently, maybe here and there.
Yeah. So I'm just stippling, blending this in.
I see you've got some oilers coming up. I use those too.
Yeah, this is just for streaking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll get to. I threw them in the thing in case. I don't know if we'll get to. But again, that great way of just adding a little bit of color variation to your mud.
I can see the nice mud stained effect.
Yeah, yeah, it's getting there. And again, you'll blend. I mean, this will get blended to some degree, but you want to. Again, I think if you can get it to a point where if you didn't do anything else, you're happy with the way it looks.
Your eye again.
Yeah. But I think you're setting yourself up for success. So see, I'm happy with that.
Yes,
Right?
totally.
So let's maybe do the other side.
It's almost acting as, well, you have the lighter part of the mud, a mud filter.
A little bit.
A little bit like a
Yeah.
mud filter. You're not changing the tone of the paint color, but you are adding a slight dirt layer,
Yeah.
which really is nice.
And again, this is like the first of 3 layers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3 processes, I guess. Second being the buff, and the third being the wash.
Now, you wouldn't choose another this brand in lighter color, no. Is there a reason why? Remember you said you used to use lighter?
Because I was always adjusting the color because it was too light.
Right. Ah,
So
okay.
this kind of plays into the color.
Got
the
it.
overall color
There,
palette.
I understand. Yeah, because the other colors may be too bright.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
too.
Like I was using the sand color.
Yeah. It looks too
And it was
artificial.
Yeah. And I go back and I look at models I did with it, and I'm like, yeah, if I would have done this, it'd look a little bit better.
It does.
But that's experimentation, right? You experiment and. Let's blend this a little bit.
You are right. The more you do, the better you get.
Yeah, for sure. Now the only thing is that blending with acrylics and the water. Now I forgot to mention I did spray. So I did something I don't normally do. Is I did spray this entire model with the VMS satin.
Satin, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Just because I was doing it for the decals, and I said, well, because I have so many little 3D clamps and bits on it.
Right.
This is another thing just to keep everything.
If you did straight flat, would this technique work?
Yeah, I mean, it might fight you a little bit more.
And if you did it super gloss, this stuff would run. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So maybe a satin.
I think you need flatter satin because you need some bite.
You need some bite, right? But you
Right.
don't need a total flat because then you can't get that.
Yeah, I think total flat.
So a satin and a semi-gloss would be the right.
Yeah, it's funny. I was or you weren't available yesterday, but I was having breakfast with Steve and Jerry. And Jerry and I were talking about aircraft finishes, and he I think, and he's a brilliant aircraft modeler, one of the best out there. But he stays away from like the super gloss or the super flat finishes.
Right.
And I think he's right. I think you kind of work a little bit tighter in that spectrum from gloss to completely flat. And I think the same thing for armor vehicles. Too flat is no good.
Yes, true. Because you're spraying satin on that looks about right.
Yeah, and the VMS satin is really...
VMS. Yeah, I haven't tried that yet. Do you thin it with anything?
Sometimes I do. They say you can just spray it, but you need you can spray it just as is. It's pretty thick, but if you do it through like a 0.4 or 0.5, it's fine. I like to thin it a little bit.
And you don't have a 0.5, do you?
No, I use the I use that little Revolution, that 0.3.
Oh, the 0.3. I have a 0.5. I really like it for
yeah, I think I'm gonna pick up
aircraft overall finishes. Yeah, the 0.5 is nice.
I think I'll go to Tom's new shop and maybe get a 0.5 if he does get the airbrushes in. Or they do have them with wheels too, but yeah, I think they get a nice 0.5 Revolution with the big cup.
That's what I have.
I think even though we bought that Pash.
Yeah, I like the Pash, but I'm a big Iwata fan.
Me too, and I have all the quick connects.
I still have my Aztec.
Yeah, I have one too. So
I still use my Aztec on occasion.
I still have one somewhere too.
Can't get them at all now.
I don't use them. If you need, I have a bunch of heads for it. If you need, let me know. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give them to you for a small but exorbitant fee.
Mm-hmm. Well, people sometimes don't have the skills to use them that other people do.
I've moved beyond the Aztec.
Oh, I see. You've moved to more advanced airbrushes.
That's right. The Aztec was great. I did everything with the Aztec for the longest time. So there. I think that's
Yeah.
good. So I think we're
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
and then
Darker here.
Yeah, just a little
not
bit more
the
mud.
same over
a
here.
little bit different, right?
Get the logic view.
And I think maybe doing this type of thing along. So we won't do it here because it's just more of the same. But I think doing this type of thing along the I think would be
Yep,
would do nicely.
I would think.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I noticed a little problem here.
So
You got little inconsistent right
Oh.
there. Right there is an inconsistent finishing which would dock you seriously at a Contec. Explain that, please.
so I saw this in some pictures on not on maybe on a Tiger, but I remember seeing pictures of various vehicles where I guess when they spray, so like, you have to remember a lot of this camo is done in the field, right? Like so, for example, for this platoon of Tigers, they came to the front just in Dunkelgelb.
Brand new. At
Yeah,
Kursk.
at Kursk, brand new, and then in the field they added the camo. So, are you going to take all the tools off?
Yeah, right.
Some of you are going to take off, some you're not.
Right.
So I saw this effect where on one vehicle, the tool, the tow cable on the side. This is the smaller tow cable they use for the tracks. When they're changing road wheels or changing tracks or whatnot. I guess the crew had taken it off or they'd lost it. Or they left it on.
They left it on.
Painted it.
Painted
They painted
it,
over
and
it,
then
and then they
lost
took
it.
it off and then didn't put it back
Right,
on the vehicle.
right.
So you have this outline. So I just thought it was a neat feature.
Brilliant.
Just something different to
Brilliant.
right, and also to highlight all of the there's I don't know, like 12, 15 clamps for this freaking tow cable here. It's incredible. Like I've never spent so much time working on. But so what I did is I used the kit. So this is again is the old Tamiya one. So I used the kit tow cable. I figured out the position of all of the clamps using that. So I used it as a bit of a model. So I put all the clamps on, and then I cut out.
Yeah.
And I have some pictures of this, but I cut out the clamps and just had the tow cable pieces, and I just kind of put them in place with blue tack,
Right. Beautiful.
and use that as the mask.
That's
and then
great.
spray the camo over just to create a different variation.
I'm going to try that on my 72nd Tiger. You think I can do it in 70 seconds?
Yeah,
Think
why
it'll
not?
work?
Sure.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
This goes back to you guys and the viewers. I think a model should tell little stories.
Yeah.
That's a little story. And then you have people looking at that. And I've said before, the longer you have somebody looking at your model, that's a positive outcome that your model is getting attention and is well done.
Yeah.
Whether they're looking at that mud, whether they're looking at that, somebody's looking at your model for like 5 minutes, you've done something right.
I think so, yeah. I think it's all about and I learned this, and you've said it a bunch of times, but I know Brownie's always preached this, Dave Brown, and he's right. I think the longer you can keep
Keep the eye on it.
somebody's eye on the model,
Yeah.
the better.
Yep. And that was a nice little trick. I never even would have thought of that.
Yeah. But again, it comes to looking at photos.
It does. Yeah,
Like
I would never have thought.
Like I have a bunch of these Pecco picture books of different vehicle and like any. And I don't know. You can go online. You can find about it. But I like to sit and look at a book with a cup of coffee or
You're such
beverage.
See this?
And I am. I'm an
Did I get
old
it
fashioned
right?
loser. But I love doing that because you can get all types of inspiration. You can see, and it doesn't have to be the same vehicle. Like I think what I saw this on was maybe a King Tiger.
Yeah.
Maybe I think, and I said, well, I can use it on
That's
this.
great.
The same type of thing,
Yeah,
right? So you get all these ideas and inspirations for things.
That's great.
Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and spray the buff. So we're just gonna get set up. So we'll just do a quick cut and then get going.
Okay.
What should you think about getting that new compressor? This thing is
Sure.
loud as
It
hell.
is loud. Okay, let's do
I
that.
don't know if he's gonna be at the other shows or Gamma Hobbies.
Okay. Well, he's a place up in North York, right?
Yeah. Anyway, what we're talking about is we saw this at one of the shows. We saw this little compressor, portable compressor, very quiet.
How much was it? 200.
Yeah, two something Canadian.
That would be like $6 American.
Something like that. So there, I think that's
Yeah, that's
Right?
great.
I mean, that's just a little, and you know, and then we can go at it.
Now you're only doing this for the mud areas. You're not going up
No,
here.
no.
Because I think if you did that up here, you'd kill the camo.
Yeah, yeah. I don't muck with that.
That's
So the
great.
same thing here.
And you've already done it on the undersides here.
Yeah. So
That's-
the underside one, and then I'll do it on the other.
How'd you get the speckling? Are you going to do that
I'm gonna
later?
do that. I'll show you. That's easy. That's a lot of fun.
Modeling is not meant to be fun. It's the resulting result.
It's a great way.
Do you ever have this thought where it's a hobby, but it becomes a major stress point when something's not working, or you lose that piece, or you?
Sure, all the time. But that's an indication that you're passionate about it.
Yes.
And you care.
Passion.
And you give a damn, right?
Yes.
Sorry, I should try to do this more. We need to get some better lighting in here. The older I get. So you see how you're just kind of blending in and
Yes,
softening
right.
further.
right.
I mean, it's-
You're softening it.
yeah. I'll just give.
Now I know some modelers would go back and reapply some gloss for wet mud.
Yeah, you could do that. Now I have it. Well, sorry, on this side I have it with the wash.
Right.
Now the shame is, like, and again, this is a good place to practice because all of the road wheels. There's so many damn road wheels on this thing. That's going to cover all of that. You're not
right.
going to see it too much of it.
A very popular subject. Tigers at Kursk, panthers at Kursk.
Yeah. Well, the biggest armored battle ever.
Since we're making small talk, I still find that it's probably Eastern Front armor very popular, arguably. Like compared to, say, Japanese armor at Saipan or Okinawa, which is my lovely preference of topic, but there's a lot of German armor enthusiasts on the Eastern Front.
Well, you know, it's funny, eh? Like the bad guys always seem to generate more interest.
Yeah, well, the uniforms are cooler too, right?
Oh yeah. When you got Hugo Boss designing.
Yeah, he would boss, yeah. By the way, I have seen, if we're doing a crossover between Pacific and Eastern Front, there is a new Tiger. I think it's a Japanese Tiger by, is it Riffield? The Japanese version of a Tiger, which,
Oh yes.
which
Or,
is purely hypothetical.
Rifle or Border? I think
Oh,
Border.
Border?
Maybe it's one of the two.
Yeah, we're so bad we should know this, but it's purely hypothetical. People have asked me, did that happen? Not in that scheme. But you do have photos of Japanese officers standing on camouflage Tigers like this on the Eastern Front. So you do have that. So you could do one of these with a Japanese officer standing on it.
Yeah.
Or crewing one. But they were not in Japanese markings.
So here I'm just.
But you got to be careful
Layered.
not to overdo it, right? Otherwise you've covered everything. Correct?
Yeah. Like you want a thin mist of this stuff on.
I can see why you're not using leveling, because I can already smell the acrylic.
Yeah.
And you guys know that if you're doing a lot of this, you should wear a mask.
Yeah. I recently invested in a new mask.
Did you?
I got one off Amazon. It's a
Like the
3M.
With the, what do you call those, filter cups?
Yeah, I got the one that there's a general one that's good for vapors.
Oh,
So it was
how
better.
much, how much is it?
Well, you buy the mask. The mask is like $30, and then the filters themselves, I think, are like 40ish.
Okay.
It's worth doing. You only have one set of lungs. So you can see, like, there's you know, it might be hard to tell on camera, but there's kind of like streaks from the acrylic. And so what I said earlier about letting something stand on its own, I didn't quite do that here.
You mean so it's covering up,
So this is helping to blend.
but you can go back and
Yeah. Go back and kind of blend those streaks into them.
I still find that I sometimes overcover the weathering, and I need to have that stronger contrast. Right, you need to over accentuate your weathering contrast when you do this technique.
Yes.
Otherwise, you just cover it.
You just lose it.
Right?
Yeah.
But I keep coming back to that bottom. That's probably one of the best bottoms I've seen.
Really?
You've got a nice bottom, Dave, and I like it. I mean, the take.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to
Yeah,
practice.
no, seriously, I mean it. I think that's one of the best lower hulls I've seen with the textured mud.
And it doesn't take. And it's just these 3 steps.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, then why are you showing these secrets? You should be keeping them to yourself.
well,
That's
you and I talked about this. Like, the more you see, like, I love nothing better than to go to a show and see a model on the table that fucking blows me away.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yep.
that is
Did
the
you
best.
just use the F-bomb? We're
did.
going to be like
Yeah.
totally totaled by Facebook. But yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
But it just,
Yeah.
I love that. Right? So the more, so this helps somebody,
Yeah.
like, get to that. I mean,
Because, like I said before, like okay, if
Self-interest.
some people are they have a bit of lack of self confidence. I don't want to tell people my secrets. It's not the secret
Yeah.
of the technique. It's your eye.
Yeah.
It's your eye that's telling you what's good.
there's
and
no
what's
state,
bad.
I mean, there's no state secrets here.
No, it's a hobby.
It's a hobby.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, I mean, lots of people like yourself have shared things with me that made me a better modeler. So if there's something I can do to,
Well, let's ask Robert the question behind the camera. Who's a better modeler, Dave or me? Give me an answer.
No answer.
Oh, okay. No comment. Okay.
very smart, Robert, stay out of that. Harvey's the better modeler.
No, you are
That's
better.
easy.
No,
That's an easy.
that's a beautiful underside. I think when you look at that, it's the type of mud that you would expect to find on a July day. Like if that's December, you'd have a lot of
Yeah.
gloss.
Yeah. Or a darker mud.
Yes.
Like a black mud.
Yes, yes,
Like I like
yes.
that technique that Dave showed us with the asphalt color.
Yes, right.
I think that was.
And the asphalt is the same line of
Yeah, the same type.
Yes,
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right.
Just much darker.
yes.
But again, I think I really like.
It's great.
Now you're gonna again. This is not. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna cover a lot of the stuff with the road
Yeah,
wheels,
yeah.
but
But you know what's there.
you know it's there. I think that's it.
I think that is it. You don't want to overdo it.
No.
Now you would obviously replicate this technique on the road wheels.
Which I did. Is exactly.
You've already done it.
already done on the road
Okay,
wheels. Yeah.
good,
The
good.
same thing. So you keep it. To your point, you keep it consistent.
Yet inconsistent.
Again, you just you use that very thin, so you can really build it up. You have a lot of control. Now on the back, I might go a little bit more with the buff everywhere because you get a lot of dust.
Now, dust.
Yeah.
I have used buff for dust. I've used almost like a very light gray mixed with buff for dust. Would you apply a dust on top of this, or would you think that's too much? I think it's too much, eh? On this one,
What do you mean, like on the?
like a whole dusting, then you kind of kill everything. Like
Yeah.
a North African dust, you'd probably kill it,
Yeah, I don't.
right?
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
yeah.
But
To each his own.
to each his own. Every modeler, everybody has a different eye for things.
Yeah, I'm working away on a Semavante. What is it? 40 L43. I probably got it wrong, but Stalingrad with whitewash, and I'm gonna try this technique. You're cleaning it?
Not a full cleaning, but I'll do that. I'll do that offline as well. Okay, so we've got our dust. So now we can get right into the third stage, which is the wash. So let's get this out of the way.
It's coming along.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta do the tracks. Maybe we can do that next episode.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think? Tracks?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do tracks next episode.
And stay tuned. I will be doing an episode on building the vintage 1/72nd Key 46 Dyna.
Ooh.
I know it's totally inaccurate, but I think the focus of that one, Dave, will be how can we make an old, inaccurate vintage kit look somewhat reasonable? And I think that's part of the hobby too.
Yeah. Is that something you did a lot of work on? Or like
No, I
or, just,
built-
or is that more like a quick...
Out of box, quick.
Yeah.
You know, if the theme is how can I do something in a weekend when it's just a fun build from your childhood? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you know what? You do need a palette cleanser
What do you do?
every now and again.
And then I get back to scratch building something. I think I mentioned in an earlier episode, I bought a 3D printer, so I'll be kind of playing with that. It's part of my scratch building tool arsenal.
So, my go-to wash is MIG 1008 1008 dark wash. But you can make this from wall paints. You can make
Yep.
this, which I normally do. But
I personally like Winsor Newton 554 raw umber with either the AK line of thinners or Humbrol. But in Canada, we can't seem to get Humbrol enamel thinners.
oh, really,
Yeah, but that's my go-to for a wash as well. But this stuff's nice too. Now this stuff is an enamel wash.
yes, this is an enamel wash. So you can make this from oils. You can make this from. I mean, you can even. I guess you could use acrylic washes.
Although I find enamel and oil wash is much more easy to use than
Yeah.
acrylic washes.
Yeah, because you don't have to. You
Yeah.
have to do with the surface tension. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's that?
What's that in there? Aha, a loose part. That's what you get for amateur.
I don't know if it's
modeling.
something I need to worry about or not.
It's amateur modeling. The parts come off the tree and it's in the vehicle.
Yeah, you listen, you can hear the ocean. Okay. So this is the side I finished. So I want to replicate the same thing, right? So I want to try and get a little bit of a darker tone towards the suspension arms here, and the logic behind that is that that's where moisture would collect, and then just have a few streaks, features that kind of drip down from the top, just to give it a bit of interest. So we'll flip her over, and then we'll start applying. So the first phase of this is I just pick up some dark color, and I just start working it into kind of the crevice. So we'll start with the top here, because again, you'd have a bit of an accumulation of moisture and mud. And then, so once I've done that, so you can see I've already kind of created the mapping where I've got some buildup of mud here, maybe a little bit of mud here, maybe over here. So I'm going to use that mapping.
I see what you're doing. And you're not using powders.
Not use, this is all no
Because I know in previous videos you use powders.
I use powders a lot.
You could though.
Yeah, sure. And you might go back and use them.
I think that's where a lot of models I've talked to at shows, some who are venturing into weathering, they feel intimidated. When do you use powders? When you don't? Well,
It's whatever you want.
it's whatever you want, and depending on the subject of the model, right? And I know a lot of them are intimidated.
But that's the thing, right? Like to get over that, you just start.
You
Just
have to do it. Do it.
Oh, another cloud
As
come over.
my kid's math teacher used to say, just do it.
Did he patent that for
That was,
for
it
Nike?
Yeah, my kids used to struggle in math. Well, I struggle in math, and then their teacher would just do it.
It's not wrong. So the nice part about working with enamel wash is that I'm just going to do a little thing here and maybe a little thing here, right? So just create.
Now that wash is straight out of the bottle, yes?
Yeah, I haven't thinned it. And it dries lighter.
Right.
So
Right.
it looks pretty, but this will dry to a slightly lighter.
I find that if you use powders with this wash, I find that you have to do a little bit more blending. Would that be fair?
Yeah. You have to, and you kind of have to do blending here too.
Okay.
So I'll do is pay some attention.
So you're really re-accentuating the recesses.
Yeah, like the acrylic mud that you're putting on really kind of sets is kind of the map.
Mm-hmm.
Because like where you have more of a build up, where it's a little bit chunkier, as it were, that's where you're putting this wash. Bump stop here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'm just going to dip this, I'm going to do some blending. So I just dip that and get most of it off into thinner. And then I'm just going to start, because if I let this dry the way it is, you're going to have these hard edges.
Yeah, the
and you
hard
don't want
edge,
that, right? You want something a little softer.
Yeah.
The piece is still rolling around, I don't know what that is. So I'll just stipple the edges and just soften it a bit.
Yeah, to get that transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you do want a hard transition if it's
Sometimes
like
you do, yeah.
like an oil leak
Yeah.
or something.
But for this, I want it just, I've got to clean your brush every now and again. So you see how that is now a lot softer, and that'll dry as that dries.
Yeah.
All right, that'll blend nicely. Oops. So you see how easy this is?
Mm-hmm. No, this is a trick that I use, Dave. Sometimes when I'm weathering like that and I want to bring back the base color, you can, let's say you used, I don't know, the Tamiya, like a acrylic Dunkel Gelva, whatever color you choose. I find that when I was experimenting, you can actually mix Tamiya colors with Winsor Newton oils. And so I would take...
and it doesn't
No.
gunk up? Or
No, it doesn't.
Really?
So if you want to lighten up the base color, let's say after you've done, oh my god, I've covered too much, you can take the Tamiya base color and add a little bit of Winsor Newton white or yellow or whatever, mix it, and go back in there with a brush, applying almost a dry brushing technique to bring back that base color.
Nice.
Right? Because then you want that. Sometimes, oh my god, I've covered too much.
Nice. So now I'm just going back, I'm just picking up some color, some wash, and I'm just going to go
A little bit more,
a
eh?
little bit more.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
Which you won't see, but like you said, it's practice.
It's practice. There's nothing else. I'm just blending it. And you can let this dry a little bit. Maybe that's what we'll do. So I think that looks, I think it's off to a good start.
I think so.
We'll let that dry, and then I'll hit the front. And it's the same principle. Right? Just pick up some, put this into the corner. I'm going to put this down here. So there's a lot of mud here. So I'm really going to hit that. Like so. Work that up into the corner. So just, again, the mud from the first stage kind of sets the tone.
Yeah, I can see you're reapplying some in the crevices.
Yeah, just to create that. Just to layer it, right? You're creating. It's all about depth.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
Right, and maybe just bring this out a little bit here, like that. Just to create some interest.
What are these on the bottom? Those little round things.
I guess they're access points for drainage or for the engine.
That's what you did there, right? You
Yeah.
can see it's darker.
Yeah.
Or is that the wash?
That's the wash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it brings
Well,
it
just
out.
bring it out and
It brings it out.
stipple it.
It
Same
does.
technique. This is all the same
Yeah,
technique.
because you're adding another layer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing. We'll just do a bit of blending here. And you can wait for this to dry a little bit.
By the way, while you're doing that, back down in Louisville, again, every show I go to, you bump into people who are watching Garage Door Mahler. So
Oh, nice.
a shout out to a few of the guys that came over and said hello to me down in Louisville. They really enjoy the video's banter. And I did say to them, you notice we don't always say hit the like button, you can do that you want. We never say that. It's because we're just doing it for fun, right? And just enjoy.
We're not monetizing this.
Yeah, we're
in
not.
any way.
Yeah, and you know, again, apologies. We don't do it consistently. We just do it when we have time, and I think that is a little bit of what makes us a little different. That we're not always hit that like button and stay tuned. Well, we can only do this when we have some free time, right, Dave?
Yeah.
And Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a passion of love.
Yeah, that's it. So our apologies. We can't do it consistently every week, but we try. And as you know, we are modelers first, so we do a lot of modeling, and we just want to share techniques.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I think we love getting feedback. We love you know when we're at a
talking
show.
at shows.
Yeah, we love meeting you guys.
Yep.
So
And I realize that our episodes aren't usually in the thousands of hits because we're not monetizing it. We're not asking people repetitively to hit the like button. So we just do it because we do it.
exactly. So we'll let that settle up, and then we'll go do the same thing on the back. Again, it's the same process. Very simple.
Yeah, and some of the feedback I got was they actually do like just the banter, just to talk about modeling. It's not always about a technique, but just talking about things is learning. I do that all the time when I model. I put on YouTube.
Yeah, I got something in the background.
One day it might be the Roman conquest of somewhere, and then the next minute it's Custer's Last Dance. So I'm all over the map. I'm all over the map.
YouTube's great for that.
Yes.
All kinds of stuff on YouTube.
Which, by the way, I'm working on a piece for the Little Bighorn. That's a secret. So stay tuned for that.
Nice. That's something we'll see here.
Yeah, we will.
Nice.
You can see it building up now.
Yeah. And you can go back and you can, like to your point, you can add, you can build it up. I want to go a little bit darker.
Mm-hmm.
That part there's
That
really,
part's bothering you?
really annoying. Let's see. So this is drying a bit, so I still got some hard edges. So the nice thing about this is you can do this hours after.
Yeah, because you're working with an enamel that
Yeah.
takes longer to dry. You can also do this with pure oils,
Yeah.
Winsor Newton.
Yeah.
You can.
100%.
Or the enamel products by, AK Mig.
Again, it's mostly convenience.
Mm-hmm. Although I do find, and it's not a knock on manufacturers, but they have all these blends of mud. And by the time you look at them all, some of them are so close that when you use them on the model, there's no difference. And I prefer to have contrast,
Yeah, there's a lot of marketing.
right? I prefer to have that contrast instead of dark mud and darker mud.
But you can, I mean, they help in, it almost becomes a paint by numbers.
Yeah.
Like do this, then do this, and do this. So that's good. I mean, if
That's
you're
fine.
not comfortable
Yep.
kind of just winging it, you can follow.
Yeah, you can follow their paint by numbers.
Yeah. Which is how I started, to be honest. And then I
I
just
think we all have.
and I just kind of figured it out.
Yeah, for weathering, it's been an organic process for me too. It's you just got to start somewhere. And I still think getting back aircraft is, I think, a little bit more challenging for weathering because it's got to be much more subtle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's far less forgiving.
Yeah, but they weathered. We talked about that, right? Dirty aircraft.
Just go back to a picture.
Yeah, go back to a picture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the easiest thing to do. Some of them were very clean.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were pretty dirty.
Having my eye on a couple of Guadalcanal Cactus Air Force subjects.
Yeah, I want to do that Wildcat. I got to go back on that. I think that'll be the next thing I do after I finish this and the other Italian stug I'm working on, or Italian front stug rather.
And we never talk much about cars because I'm not the greatest car modeler, but you could probably do these techniques on what do you call those Dakar? What do you call the
rally cars.
the rally cars?
Yeah, you could.
Right. You could use this technique on those. Oh yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it works.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, some people would say, well, did they weather like that? Well, actually, yeah, if you see pictures, sometimes when water gets in there, there's a mud stain running down.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do, and I may need some tissues for this, is we're going to do some speckling. Or splattering.
Splattering?
Speckling, splattering. So, what I'm going to do here. No, the lighting is terrible. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. Let's do this. I'm not crazy with that either. Ah, that's why I brought these guys.
Oh, I was wondering why you bought those clips.
Yeah. Because I don't want to lean it on this thing because it's photo etch.
Oh, right, right.
So let's lean it on these guys.
Hmm.
See if that works.
That's smart. You're smarter than you look, Dave.
There we go. Maybe up a bit. That should be fine. Okay. So now what you do?
You can see the bottom result.
So I'm gonna speckle. So all I'm gonna do is I just pick up some paint. I'll just test it. Get most of it off, and then just start.
Would you do a lighter mud speckle too?
You could.
But would you on this?
I don't know.
Maybe two.
Maybe one
Yeah,
somewhere.
Yes, just to make it very
Just to-
yeah,
to
to
have
give
a-
it a story.
Yeah. You want to make sure you get it.
I find for I did a larger 1/16 Panther, and I found that you can use one of those stiffer bristle brushes for this technique on very large scale armor. Right. This technique you're using here looks good for 35th.
Sorry. So what do you mean with this?
So like with a 1/16, if you do this technique on a 1/16,
Right.
it's almost like too small.
Oh, I see.
Where you have to use your thumb and flick a stiffer,
Oh, I got it. Yeah,
on
yeah,
a
yeah.
much larger subject.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So, now what I'm going to do is there's maybe some that. Well, first of all, I got some speckling where I didn't want it on the side, so I'm just going to go and clean that
It's
off
just
here.
very amateurish, Dave.
Yeah, but yeah, you create a little streak.
Yeah.
Not to say that the side won't get some attention, but not right now. And then that one I might just blend in a bit. So that's the nice thing about this. You can kind of correct it. If there's something that's a little bit more than you wanted, you're good to go. Now let's do. So I apologize for the angle on this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's hard to see. But let's do just a little bit here on the back. So same type of thing.
You're on the. Yeah. What he's doing, because the camera may not pick it up. You're
And you might see it
speckling.
from this thing here.
Yeah, you're speckling
The
the,
light-
the fenders,
Yeah, the mud guards a bit.
the mud guards. Sorry, the mud guards. Yes.
So that's gonna have to get fixed. And again, you can go back over and do this. So here, I might just, I'm gonna fix that, blend that in. Maybe some of these guys, that's a bit much, blend that in. So you play, and you can come back and, you know, you can let things dry a little bit and come back. And if you wanted to create a darker splatter, you can use oil paints and then
Yes,
adjust
right,
it
right,
to the
right.
right
You could
consistency.
even mix it with
Yep.
powders.
Yeah, let's do. Maybe the last thing we'll do is the front. Just take a look at that. Oh, let's fix that. That's a bit big here. Then we'll go back and do the front. Same type of thing. Oh brush. And I will be very light on the front.
Right, because probably more splatter on the rear of the vehicle.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we'll let that, so I think that kind of almost wraps it up for today. Take these things off. Yeah, I think it, you know, you certainly look, I may go back, and once this dries, I may go back and just feather the edging a little bit.
Yep.
But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's coming along. Coming along nicely.
Yes, it is.
So, I guess that's it for this episode today. But yeah, in terms of today, that's it for today's episode. The next thing we'll do, I think we'll start once I figure out what I want to do in the horizontal parts of the vehicle for weathering,
Right.
for mud and whatnot. That'll be the next episode that we do here.
Great.
But that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank
It was a lot
you.
of fun. We'll see you next time around.
Mm-hmm.